Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I'm going to be working on some Faith Dex cards. Now there's a couple different ways I approach my Faith Dex cards. Sometimes I'm inspired and I create a card on the spot, and then other times I pre-create the cards or have fun with the products, and then they are ready to go, ready to add journaling and prayers and verses, and that's the angle I'm going to take today. So I have this pile of papers that I made from a recent playtime with my new gel plate, which was so much fun. So I have this pile of papers that I'd like to use. I have a whole drawer full of collage papers, which are like leftover papers that I've used in different projects. And so I've pulled out some papers that I had in there, some old Illustrated Faith papers, and then some random ephemera pieces. So this would be the Maggie Holmes pieces from Sunny Days, and then a couple of fun pocket pieces. I'm not totally sure what collection these are from. I think they're Vicky Bouton, but I will definitely look that up and link it below. So I will put you guys on fast forward. I will link everything that I end up using down below, but otherwise I'm just going to have fun creating a few Faith Dex cards that I can put aside and have ready for when I have those God wink moments that I really want to document. All right, let's go. All right, I'm going to start by trimming down this piece. This scrapbook paper it's no telling how old it is. I've had it in my stash forever, so it's nice to finally get to use it. So I'm going to trim it down to 3 by 4, which is kind of the standard size of these Faith Dex cards. You know, you can make them taller. It just depends on how you're storing them, but I'm going to try to keep mine to 3 by 4. And now I'm just going to trim down a few of my little pieces, mat those together. I had so much fun playing with my gel plate, and I wondered, what do you do with all of these random prints that you are making? You can use them for art journaling. You can cut things out of them. In this case, I'm using them for some Faith Dex cards just to change things up and get that mixed media feel. So I don't have to do it directly on the Faith Dex card. So it was a lot of fun to kind of experiment and see what I could do and how I could use these as backgrounds. Now I'm going through the Sunny Days collection of ephemera, and a lot of the phrases aren't necessarily pertinent to what I will be writing on these eventually. And so I pulled out my Tim Holtz stickers. These are some of my favorite stickers. Love the Wordfetti stickers, love the chat stickers. I just love them all. And so I'll just cover up the other title with the word thoughts, because that's most likely something that I would journal on there. And I'm just trying to figure out where I want to position everything. I also have my sewing machine all turned on and threaded up, ready to go, because I will be adding a little bit of sewing to these just to add some more texture and dimension. I love sewing on my Faith Dex cards. I think it is so fun. It's literally the only thing I sew. I just sew paper. I don't sew fabric, but that's okay. I like the texture it adds. Okay, before I take this one to the sewing machine, I did go ahead and use my Heidi Swap punch so that I could punch the Rolodex holes in there. They're a special shaped hole, so you certainly could trace them. I think there's some dies over at scrapbook.com. Taking that over to sew, I sewed straight through the words, nice and simple. Like I said, the punch is really, really helpful. If you are enjoying the Memory Dex or the Faith Dex system, I highly recommend searching out a punch. I do believe they are available or have been available recently, but there's also some dies that you can get, and then of course you can buy some pre-made cards from Heidi Swap, so check that out as well. All right, so now I've switched. I'm using a pink and purple print, and I found a beautiful chipboard rainbow. And lately I have found myself with a lot of chipboard pieces from the Hip Kit Club, and I don't use chipboard hardly ever in any of my projects because it does have so much dimension. It is so thick. And so it was nice to find another use for these. I stuck that rainbow up tall and then just added another piece of paper to the stickiness that was sticking over the top. That way it has this kind of cool little flap. It looks different in the Faith Dex box, which I think is fun. That's one of the most fun things, is when you start gathering several Faith Dex cards and the tops all look different and you get this really pretty collection of ribbons and shapes and colors kind of exploding out of your Faith Dex box, and it is just absolutely beautiful. Again, I used that Illustrated Faith scrapbook paper and put it on the inside so that I would have somewhere nice to write. And then I'm actually going to trim out some of the words that were on that paper. This is an old paper pad. I'll see if I can find it. It might still be available over at Dayspring. If so, I will link it down below. Now, I am again cutting apart some of those Maggie Holmes Sunny Days ephemera pieces. I didn't need anything that said vacay vibes, but I did like the word vibes. And I'm going to use these words right here, trim them out. Don't forget to make your supplies work for you. I didn't need the whole 6x8 paper that had these words on it, but I like the words, I like the patterns, so I just cut it apart and used it how I wanted. So now in the inside of this particular Faith Dex card, it will say grateful vibes. So this one is all set for when I have a big gratitude moment that I want to document, and I can put it in the middle. It's kind of a secret prayer place. And then on the outside, I'll be able to add the words blessed and thankful just to kind of complete the look of that card. I like these particular Faith Dex cards that kind of open because I feel like it's a secret journaling place. It's not necessarily easy to get your cards in and out all of the time. And so this is a place that I can journal and keep that gratitude to myself. Now, this is a glitter pen. I will link these below. I picked mine up. I'll have to look up what this company is. Spectrum. This is a Spectrum Noir sparkle pen, and it is so fun. It is clear sparkle. It is so, so pretty, and it's nice to add a little touch of sparkle to something you're creating. Okay, moving right along, this is another one of my prints, and I'm just using my 1-inch circle punch to punch out a bunch of circles. Another fun thing to do, use your punches and you get some very cool shapes with neat patterns in them. They're all unique. I will take all of my circles after I trim off the edges over here so I can use every little bit of that paper possible. I'm going to save those because I think they kind of look cool. All right, I'm going to take all my circles and run them through the sewing machine. And what's cool about that is it's going to create this kind of string of circles, kind of like a garland, see right there? And I'll be able to attach that to my sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and punch this, and I'm using the back where it has the orange in the background, adding this kind of view, the scenic view, which is super pretty. And then I will put the garland. You can see I'm going to kind of put it around the edge. I'll go and head and add some Tombow adhesive on each little piece so that when I decide to stick it down, it will actually stay. So I put it on in advance so I can kind of work it once it's there. Oops, wrong side, putting it on the other side. It's a little tricky when you're adding adhesive. It gets a lot out of control, but that's okay. I had so much fun going through my stash and just kind of creating. So like I said in the opening, I kind of approach some of my faith projects from different angles. Sometimes I am super moved by something that I have read or studied and I want to create something right then, and I have the time to sit down and be creative, and I can do that. There are other times that I maybe am not necessarily feeling like I want to journal something, but I do feel that urge to create. And so I'll do projects like this where I can create things in advance. I'm not necessarily focusing on specific verses or anything like that, but that way I have these ready to go because, again, there's times where I'm inspired by scripture or want to write a note to myself or create something, but I simply don't have the time. I mean, I have 3 kiddos that are still doing virtual school 2 days a week or 3 days a week actually. And so there's times that I don't have time to create. So when I have these already done, then it gives me that opportunity to do something creative and quick and to notate that God wink or that verse or that prayer that I really wanted to get down. I can get it down. I already have these ready to go. So it's okay to kind of approach your faith art or your faith journaling from some different angles, just depending on where you are in your day, where you are in what season of life you are in. Just do what works best for you. All right, so you see I've been assembling this one. I found a little phrase that says, "Be you bravely." And then what I'm going to do is actually grab some alpha and I'm going to add the word fear because that is certainly a subject that I deal with a lot when I'm reading scripture and when I'm praying. And so I went ahead and put that title on there because that'll be something that I know is going to come up, and it goes really well with the phrase, "Be you bravely." All right, so these are art journal pages. They are forever old. I think they were actually out of what I call my Take 10 journal, which is kind of a spare art journal that I have laying around where I experiment and try some different things in it. Sometimes the pages come out really nicely, and when they do, I kind of tear them out and use them for other purposes. So I want to use those pieces. I love the thought of them layered together like that. So I have my card cut out. I have this tag that's like a pocket tag, and I'm going to kind of assemble all of these together. It ends up being a thick Faith Dex card because there is a lot going on this card, and that's okay. It's, it's a Faith Dex card. It still only took probably, 7 or 8 minutes to put together, even though it has all of these different layers. So on the back is where I have that floral pocket, and it gives me that torn look at the top. And then what I'm going to do is layer the other two colors of paper. I believe these were done with distress oxides. I'm not totally sure, but that is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's layers of distress oxide. That's my best guess, at least. So you can see I'm just going to layer those up. So the bottom of this ends up being like 5 or 6 sheets of paper thick, which is super thick. And I actually had trouble punching it out with my Heidi Swap punch, my Rolodex punch. So if you're going to layer as much as I did just now, you probably want to punch as you go and line up those holes because, yeah, it gave me a fit trying to punch later on. All right, here are some stickers from the Sunny Days collection. I'm pretty sure I probably picked these up at like Tuesday morning, and I haven't gotten a chance to use them. So I'm looking through to see what I might be able to add. And right on the edge right here, I see "you plus me," which I think is a perfect phrase to put right there. And then I'm going to kind of nestle in this cool butterfly, very spring-like, and then I'll just stick with the butterfly motif on the front. There's a couple more butterflies on the back, so I will add those in. I kind of like the pop of blue against this like really warm color palette, and then you have this pop of bright blue. I think that is super fun. So I'm trying to decide, you're going to see me messing with stickers for a little bit here. I'm trying to figure out what I want to put on the front with those two butterflies. It needs something else, but I'm just not sure what phrase I want to do. I have trouble. I'm looking for different phrases. I'm trying to see maybe that'll work. No, I don't think that'll work. It's kind of weird. So I do find the phrase "come what may," and I add that on the back. And that's when I struggle with the punch. I just cut that out for you guys because, man, it was a struggle. All right, the tag will be in the back. I took it to the sewing machine, added a bunch of sewing lines to give it texture. And now I just decide, I'll just pull out some alphas from my stash and I will spell out the word faith, a great word to kind of anchor a Faith Dex card. So I'll add that to the front just to add a third element. So the idea was I had only had 2 butterflies and I didn't want to stick with an even number of elements on the front. So I added the title. And like I said, a lot going on that particular card. All right, I am going to make one last card. I will use this print that seems to have like all the colors in it. I'm going to cut it down to 4 inches wide and then just fold it in half. And then I want to put this piece on the inside just so it's a little bit cleaner looking. I'll add some adhesive, and then what I actually end up doing, because there's a gap at the top, the piece wasn't quite tall enough to cover the whole inside. What I'm going to do is look through my stack and see what else I might be able to add on the back to kind of take up that space. So I'm trying to figure out what colors are going to go really well. And so I just grabbed this print, add it in. The green is going to go really nicely with the green scrapbook paper, as you can see right there, that I'm planning on putting on the inside. And it's kind of a weird juxtaposition because it's these bright warm colors on the outside and then these really cool tones on the inside, but the green is in common on both sides, which I think is pretty cool. So got that. Now I will just fold it. Again, this will be one of those cards that has the hidden journaling on the inside. So I want to go ahead and punch it so it's ready to go as I move things kind of out of the way. And I'm looking through that stack again of ephemera. And like I said, there's a lot of interesting phrases that don't necessarily really go with what I would want on the Faith Dex card. So I really like these black and white photos. This one is of the beach. And I'm just going to cover up the word sun-kissed. I do like the phrase sunshine sun, and I'm going to just use this photo, and then again, use my Tim Holtz small chat. I'll link those below. They're my favorite. They're just so great. I'm going to use those and kind of create my own phrases. So I'm looking for my small chat. It'll be here in just a second. Actually fell off my desk. There it is. So I'm going to go with black so it really pops, and I'm going to choose the phrase simple reminder, and I kind of stack those two stickers on top of each other, and then I find the word magnify and I go with the word you. Simple reminder, magnify you, meaning magnify God, more of God, less of me. Once I get those stickers in place, then I will grab my punch one last time and add the holes in, and I will be done. 5 Faith Dex cards in about 40 minutes total, so I think that's pretty good. And now they're ready to go for some morning study time when I just want to document something in a creative manner, but just don't have the time. So let me show you a quick flip through of the cards. I love how they turned out. I love the mixed media look on the back. It is a lot of fun. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. I will link all of the supplies that I use down below. Heads up, some of those will be affiliate links. It does not cost you any more, but it does go a long way to supporting this channel. So I really appreciate when you are able to shop those. I hope that you have a fabulous day, and as always, keep it creative.